If you are someone who constantly finds themselves in the situation where it's like people are taking advantage of you, you're giving, and you're just drained and left on your own, underappreciated, undervalued, and constantly questioning your worth, this video is for you. I'm going to be breaking down exactly where this stems from, how to fix it, and why this is something that is keeping you trapped and showing up in your life right now. So let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Kara Michelle and I'm here to help you live your truth. Now, this is a cycle I personally was stuck in for most of my life. It wasn't until my 20s, which it wasn't until probably when I literally started my spiritual journey in 2011 that I started to really dive into this stuff and look at energy, look at beliefs, look at the programming that I had and the patterns. Because I just kept feeling like, why is it, no matter what relationship I'm in, no matter where I meet these people, even when I was traveling the world and backpacking solo and doing all these different things, it's like, why do I feel like I'm attracting people who don't really appreciate me fully, don't give me the respect or support that I need, and yet I'm giving it to them and I'm showing up and supporting them and I care about them and I'm putting out all this energy to help them. Why isn't it being reciprocated? So all of a sudden I started to go, oh, okay, this is where this is coming from, and that's what I really want to help you achieve throughout the course of this video. So make sure you stick around till the end, because the tools and the shifts I'm going to be sharing with you are going to help you so much to break out of this pattern. So I want to start off by discussing the fact that there are actually two types of people in the world. Well, I don't know why I did this. There are two types of people in the world, and the reason that this continues to happen is based on the law of duality. So there are laws of the universe. We have the law of gravity, we have the law of reciprocation, which can be interpreted as the law of karma, and we have the law of duality. So that is the law that this is the black and white, good and bad, which are very stereotypical things that we have and associations we create, but right versus wrong, and even right versus left, there's two distinguishing things. So that duality, that separation. Now when we look at that in terms of people, naturally, because this is a law of the universe, we're going to see this show up in terms of people, and there are the givers and there are the takers. And if you're someone who feels like people are taking advantage of you, well, surprise, you are the giver. Congratulations. This is why this keeps showing up for you, because you are naturally the giver in your energy, in your mindset, in the way you show up in the world. Quite often, and quite honestly, one of the reasons that I feel like I attract so many people who are struggling with this as well in my coaching business is because I speak to a lot of empaths, a lot of those super heart-centered, caring individuals who truly want to make a difference in the world. That is my ideal client. Those are the people I love helping, because I want to help them help more people or help the world and create this beautiful ripple effect. But those heart-centered people are the givers, and that is why majority of my clients struggle with this, actually. And as I'm saying this, I'm like, whoa, this explains everything. But the givers are the heart-centered, right? You are constantly putting other people's needs first. You're constantly trying to make that difference, going that extra mile, wanting to make sure they feel supported. You're constantly people pleasing. And if you're a people pleaser, make sure you check out this video here. I'll link it down below as well after this video. Make sure you watch that one, because it's going to dive into the people pleasing trap and how to break out of that. But when you're a heart-centered person, it's really easy to feel like you're being taken advantage of by those takers. So there are naturally givers in the world who are here giving, showing up, caring, supporting, expressing that compassion, putting everyone on everything else first. And then there are the takers who are naturally, this is not even intentional. So this isn't to mean like they're the bad guys, but this is just the law of duality. So there are people who are naturally taking, and they will take what they can get, and they're always kind of asking for more. And again, it's not in a bad way, but they typically are a little bit more selfish because they are focused on their needs first and taking what they can get. So if you are the giver, let's do this. Like if I'm the giver, then I'm always giving out and sharing my energy and expressing myself in that way. And they're always trying to pull and take it because that's what they're naturally doing. And I had a relationship that ended recently that was exactly like this, where it wasn't intentional on their end and they weren't a bad person, they weren't meaning to, but they were constantly draining and taking my energy, which is because that is how they operate, and because I naturally am a bit more of a people pleaser, which is something I'm constantly working on. Because that's how I more naturally am, it was really easy for me to just keep going and giving and like trying and trying to accommodate them, and they're going to keep taking because that's what they naturally do. And when you start to break that cycle and when you have awareness of it, this discomfort exists, because as you start to create new healthy boundaries, you stop that cycle from being possible. So I'm just going to jump through here because this is where I'm naturally going right now. Healthy boundaries and self-worth. So we'll get into both of those. But when you create these healthy boundaries and you start to you become aware of how this is showing up and how it's reflecting in your relationships, you create these healthy boundaries. Well, naturally, there's going to be some discomfort and a separation from these people, because if you're no longer doing your part in this duality, if you're no longer giving to them, they can't keep taking, right? And vice versa. So when you set this boundary, there is going to be a disconnect. And this is where this relationship I just talked about ended, because it was like, I can't keep giving. I'm exhausted. I'm drained. This isn't working for me. And so I need to set this boundary and come back to myself and conserve and focus on myself for a little while. And they're upset because they're not getting and they're not able to take, right? So we create the boundary. And this is why with this whole thing, some of you might not like this. Firstly, comment down below if you've ever been in that place where you are feeling like they're just taking, right? And you all of a sudden feel like you have an empty cup, you have nothing to pour from, you're drained, and then they're gone. And like they're not checking in on you, they're not concerned about what's happening in your life because they've done their job, they've taken, and now that you have nothing else to give, they're like, peace, see ya. So I actually just had a conversation with a client yesterday. We had this huge breakthrough because this was happening in her life with a friend group that she'd been friends with for ages, and she was always giving, always putting all of them first, always like showing up, nurturing, supporting, and she was really hurt because when she needed them the most, they weren't there. And why does that happen? It happens because they're not able to take anything from you and they don't know how to give. So with relationships, what's so key is that we have this understanding of like, are you a giver, are you a taker? How do you show up, and how can you match people so that it's more balanced instead of this really big duality and separation that keeps you in that relationship. So for her, we discussed this even more, and she had this amazing breakthrough because she started to see, oh my gosh, like there wasn't reciprocation and they weren't really appreciating or respecting me, and all of a sudden they're gone when I needed them the most, and I deserve so much better. So I can't keep giving to that when it's not being reciprocated. And that is one of the biggest things that I'm so passionate about and that I love about my 90-day Conquer Your Mind program, which make sure you check out the free mindset training down below. It's going to tell you all about this system and the exact 3-step process I work through with my clients and why it is the most powerful process you can do to create transformation in your life. I swear. Click that link. Check it out. But what is so cool is that when you realize these things and you take back your power, you take back control over your life, your energy, your beliefs, and how you're showing up in the world, you are then able to put that full force into what you desire, what you're here to do, and taking care of yourself versus always in that empty cup space of giving and not being able to receive. So I'll save that for another video. But what's so interesting here is that it's very easy as givers, we use this kind of language. And I put this on here for a purpose, for this exact reason. We use this kind of language of, oh, they were taking advantage of me, or they were taking. It's very disempowering language that continues to keep us in that victim mindset and keep us in that state of powerlessness of, well, they were taking, but like when we take ownership and responsibility, and that's part of why you should definitely check out the mindset training, is because when we take ownership and responsibility, we take our power back. Because you can be a giver and still have healthy boundaries, and you can be the most caring, compassionate person in the world and still have healthy boundaries, and know that your needs matter first, that you're worthy of being supported, and that you're worthy of being respected and having this equilibrium in your relationships. And as you stand in that and you own that, then you show up and you've raised your vibration, you've created this new identity, you step into this new place, and there's no way for them to continue taking. When I was at my most insecure was when people kept taking, because I didn't believe I deserved better, and I didn't have a healthy boundary set, and my worth in my mind was based on, are they happy with me? You know, have I done enough for them? Like, am I good enough? So I'm giving them the advantage. They're doing their job as takers by taking advantage, but you're doing your job as a giver because you're giving them advantage. So stop giving them advantage. Comment that down below. I stop giving people advantage. I stop giving them the advantage. I am taking my power back. I am setting healthy boundaries. This is where it all begins. And now where this stuff starts from is like childhood. It's from your subconscious programming. So when, oh dear. When you have these inner child wounds or this subconscious belief, now part of this, as I said, is the natural law of duality. Part of this is just that the law, it's there. We have to have both. If the whole world was takers, what would we have? Oh my gosh, can you imagine? And that's why we have so many problems, because there's a lot of takers in power right now. They're taking resources, they're taking energy, they're taking money, they're taking control, they're taking for what they want, and continuing to fuel a world and a life that meets their needs but doesn't benefit the masses. Shout out to the government. Shout out to the elite, you know, like they're taking. They don't care about anyone else. So why there's such a big uprising right now is because the givers and the heart-centered people are starting to say, hey, this is not sustainable. This is not working. Why is there no equality? Why aren't we creating a world that is beneficial for all of us instead of just some of us? So as the givers take their power back and their influence, we can create a change. As long as the takers are in power, they'll continue taking. And we're going to end up with the world of WALL-E, where we've got nothing and humans don't live here and it's just a whole bunch of garbage. So, focus. Where it starts is okay, that is natural duality. We cannot like subconsciously program the takers. Maybe we could brainwash them. I don't know. We can't subconsciously program because that is a law of the universe, that we need this duality in order to function. You can't just have one without the other. There's always going to be this separation. But on top of that, it comes from your childhood and from your subconscious. So as givers, most of us have the subconscious beliefs that we are not good enough on our own, that our worth lies in someone else's happiness. And this starts very early from childhood, and I wrote a post about that on my Instagram. If you're not following, make sure you check out Real Cara Michelle. Follow me, join me on there. I'd love to have you in that community as well. But I wrote a post about this and how for women especially, it comes from that father wound and from our relationship to the masculine. So if growing up you felt like you weren't just good enough on your own for your dad, and like you only got the praise or the love or the attention when you did something and you had to prove your worth, if you had that kind of thing, then you're gonna have this need to give and to constantly please in order to feel validated and in order to feel enough. And that's where that really negative cycle stems from, and it impacts and ripples out into all relationships, because you continue to base your self-worth on if someone else is happy with you. So you're gonna keep giving, you're gonna keep trying, you're gonna keep putting them first and showing up in that way, because you're looking for that validation and you're seeking that approval so desperately of just like, please, can someone tell me that I'm good enough? And can someone give me that pat on the head and say like, good job, you did it, you're enough. But no matter how much we give, even if we get that kind of validation, we still don't feel good enough, because we've spent a lifetime putting our worth into other people and doing that. So even though you get that validation for a minute or 10 minutes or an hour and someone's really happy with you, you feel loved and supported, well, what about tomorrow? What about tomorrow when it's a new day and you're still looking for that external validation? And now if you don't get it at work, or you don't get it in your relationships, or your partner or your friend kind of makes a little comment that's off, you immediately go, well, what did I do wrong? And I'm not good enough. And this was another conversation I had with a totally different client, in how she realized how this was showing up in all of her relationships and creating these major triggers with herself, with her partner, and where it all stemmed from, and how it was from this event in her childhood that she had been suppressing, that she didn't even realize consciously had been affecting her so much, but it was so deeply ingrained in the subconscious that it kept her stuck. And this is why this mindset work and this energy work is the absolute most important thing you can do in your life to break out of this place. Because as long as your story and identity is aligned with that trauma or with those subconscious beliefs, then you're going to continue to follow those same patterns and cycle through in that same way. So when you are able to elevate your self-worth and realize that your worthiness does not depend on someone else, it just comes from within. You're worthy right now because you exist, because you're watching this video. By the way, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you are the first to be notified. When you realize that your self-worth just exists right now, then you don't feel like you need to give in order to be enough. You're like, I'm already enough. And I want you to just like put your hands on your heart for a second. Take a deep breath in, let it out, let your shoulders drop a little bit, and just say this: I am already enough. And feel it, like feel that in your heart. I am already enough, simply because I am. Simply because I'm here right now. I just got chills. It feels so good when you start to tell yourself this new story and you start to realize that you're already enough. So when you start to see this and you can show up every day of like, I'm already enough. If I can give to you, if I can support you, if I can help you in some way, that's awesome. And I will, because I am caring and my heart's like just overflowing with love and I want to help you. If I can do that, that's amazing and that's a bonus. But if I need to say no for myself, if that doesn't feel right for me, I'm still enough. And I don't need to place my worth in giving to someone else. So please, I feel like you should go back and rewatch this whole video because I just spit fire. This whole premise is going to change everything in your life. There will always be takers who will try to take advantage of you without even meaning to. They're not bad people. They could be very well-natured. They might not even know what they're doing. But there will always be people trying to take advantage of you. So the best way to stop it is to stop giving all the time. Stop pouring yourself empty to provide and seek that validation, and know that you are already enough right now for existing, and you can put yourself first because your worth doesn't lie in someone else. And in order to actually break out of these subconscious beliefs, in order to uncover the root cause of where this is coming from, and shift it and install a new belief system, that's where the mindset training comes in. And that's where learning how to conquer your mind is the best thing you can ever do in your life. Because this is a pattern. This duality, man, this is a crazy board. This duality, this is always going to exist. I said that, right? This is always going to exist, the givers and takers. So unless you learn how to master your energy and conquer your mind and stand in your power and take your power back and rise up confidently in that space, you will continue to see this pattern. You will continue to give and give and give, and those takers will be like, oh my God, oh yes, I'm taking. It's like a hungry hippo. I'm just imagining a hungry hippo that's like, just wants to take everything. And meanwhile, you're getting smaller and smaller. You're feeling worse and worse. You're getting exhausted and drained, and you have nothing left to pour anymore. And how can you feel validated, and how can you feel good enough if you're not able to do what you think you're meant to do, which is give? So you take your power back and you learn how to balance this level of duality in yourself so that you can set these healthy boundaries. You learn how to reprogram your mind so that you have the belief system in place to support you in handling life and encountering all these different people. And everything will change for you when you do that. So please, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you comment, share with me your favorite takeaways, like, subscribe, turn on the notifications. Please feel free to share if you know a lot of heart-centered people, a lot of givers out there. If you know anyone who's struggling with this, share this video and check out the mindset training. And then I will see you guys on the next video. Thank you so much again from the bottom of my heart. It's time to rise up, to take your power back, to stand firm and know that you are enough, you are worthy just for simply existing. So create that energetic and that mental boundary so that people can't keep taking advantage of you, because you've got the control and you've got the power and you've got that set line of what you're giving and what they can even take in the first place. I'll see you guys later.